demonstrating right now. So when you put the mask on, right, you're supposed to not touch it from the front. You're supposed to hold it up from the sides and the strap and place it over your nose and mouth, and make sure that you absolutely strap it on, tighten it up, and don't touch the front of it. Try not to touch your face, all those things. How many people have you guys seen wearing the mask down around their neck, not covering their nose because it's hard to breathe in? I mean, what's the point? Because if you take that off even for a moment and you're in public and somebody walks past you and you're breathing the air that they were breathing, blowing, farting, who knows, right?
Hey. You can't fix stupid. You can't fix stupid. Anyway, no, just kidding.
So make sure, and we're gonna do the show through the mask. No, I'm kidding. We're not gonna do the show through the mask. Make sure you're putting the mask on and taking it off. Now, these surgical masks are great. They're cheap. You can get them right now on Amazon. I ordered a bunch of packs on Amazon just to have them. I do have plenty to last me a while. And what you can use these a few times. You can either put them in a UV light box. I don't know if you guys seen these. They're a little bit bigger than your cell phone. You can buy them online for $19 to $29, and you put your phone in there. You push a button. It's plugged into a USB power supply, and it'll bombard your phone with UVC, one of the strongest UV lights. Now, there's no absolute definitive proof that that kills all types of viruses, but it does kill virus and bacteria. So that's great. You can also put your mask in there. I've been spraying them with Lysol and leaving them in the garage. I don't bring them in the house. So I come in through the garage, take everything off in the garage. All the clothes go in the washer every single time. No shoes in the house. And the mask gets laid out on the table we have set out there. We spray everything down with Lysol, leave it out there, let it sit, and hopefully not have to touch it for a day or so until it dries out, and reuse the mask. The N95 masks are absolutely the best thing to have. And if you have one and you can get them, by all means, you can also use those and put them in these UV light boxes as well. And hey, if you're going to wear a bandana, so be it. If that's all you have, a homemade mask. I saw some pretty interesting ones on my last trip. We had lots of families traveling together, and they had these homemade masks. Some people can sew a little bit better than others. That's all I'm going to say. But hey, the effort is there, and I applaud all of those, individuals and family members that are sitting there making masks, not just for themselves, but for their family and their loved ones. So good job, everybody.
Yeah, I sent a link to my daughter from the CDC website on how to make, self-make your own mask. And so my daughter, just today, when I left for work, she started putting some together, and she sent me a picture, and it looks pretty good. She did a pretty good job. So she made one for me, one for my wife, and one for her sister, and they wore it out on town today. So she's pretty proud of it.
Good. And they have to be at least 4 to 5 layers thick, or you can use those HEPA filter vacuum cleaner bags. I saw some pretty good videos on how to make your own mask with a HEPA filter on the inside that you can pull in and out and change out. So good stuff. But, about 2 weeks ago, none of the pilots that I saw in the airport terminal were wearing a mask. Not one. People were. Passengers were. Probably 10, 15, maybe 20% of the flight attendants were wearing a mask in public in the airport terminal. This last week, on this last trip, almost everybody was wearing a mask, and most of the pilots were wearing masks, and no one would bat an eye or scoff or give a look. I mean, everybody's wearing a mask, and that's great. If that's what we need to do to kind of kick this thing and get past this hump, by all means, don't be ashamed. I wear it with pride because I don't wear it for me. I wear it for the family, so I don't bring anything home. So
I somewhat hesitate to step in here, but I think that I do want to bring up the fact on why the mask is somewhat important, and it's not to protect yourself at all. I think that wearing a mask is a really good idea, but the purpose of wearing the mask and really why the material of the mask is not going to make a whole lot of difference is because you wear a mask to protect everybody else from you. You brought up the N95 mask. There's, the N95 obviously is kind of the medical standard, if you will, for various reasons. But for the general public, the N95 is not going to really do much out other than anything else. But the reason that we're trying to kind of push the mask now is because we're not really sure who could be sick. You may be sick, you may not be sick, but however many people may be asymptomatic carriers of the virus, every time you cough, every time you sneeze, and obviously to a much lesser degree, but even as you breathe, you are expelling little droplets, which will be with the virus. And if you are able to contain that within the mask and you're not going to expel that into the air, which is then going to travel, your 6 feet and then even farther, but with much less virus load, you're going to contain that where that virus is not going to get on all these other people. And so that's really what the mask is for. It's not actually, the mask will not protect you from getting it. If somebody sneezes and that's up in the air, it doesn't really matter what mask you happen to be on outside of a full health suit. But that mask is what it's going to do is it's going to protect everybody else from you, from all those little, any moisture that does come from your mouth. It's not going to go anywhere. And if it doesn't go anywhere, it's going to have a much harder time getting everyone else sick. And so I just wanted to throw that in there, that's why that mask is important. It's protecting everybody else from you, because we don't really know who might have it, but don't actually expect it to protect you or prevent you from getting sick. That's why washing your hands is so important, because in the end, all those other people who aren't using a mask, who knows what all these surfaces may be in, and then you introduce it, especially because, even when you're talking about masks are somewhat uncomfortable. And what's everybody doing? They have a mask. Their hands are always over their face, readjusting their mask, pulling it on. Their glasses are fogging up, so we pull it off away from our face. Yeah. And now you've just transferred that. That's why washing our hands is so important, because we don't know what everybody else is doing. But us wearing a mask is actually it's preventing us from spreading it to a much greater degree, because it's in a contained space.
Yeah. And thank you for pointing that out. That is absolutely everything I've read says the same thing. Yeah. You're wearing the masks, not so you don't get it. And we've been saying this here on the show for a long time. It's so that if you have it, when you cough, you sneeze, you talk, you spit, whatever, it's all contained.
It's in a contained space.
Yeah.
And
I can't tell you how many people at the airport, they go to sneeze. What's the first thing they do? They take the mask off to sneeze, then they put the mask back on. It's supposed to keep
completely defeating the purpose, unfortunately.
It's not so the stuff doesn't get in your face. It's supposed that your stuff doesn't get out. I
have an issue with the gloves. That the glove thing drives me nuts. And there's a lot of people wearing the gloves, and it's the way I think about it. It's like wearing the glove is like reusing a condom. Because you're going to touch things over and over and over again. And it's like you're just taking it from point A to point B with the same glove. So when like the flight attendant hands me my, hey, what do you want? I'll take a Coke. I'm thinking, oh God, here comes the reused condom, because she's in the galley and she just touched, the coffee maker. She just touched the bathroom doorknob. She just touched the now my soda. So now I'm getting a soda with the same glove, and I'm like, oh God, use condoms. So Lysol wipes, and
and that's a really good point. Is that people also, they think that these gloves are this great idea, but 99% of the population really has no idea how to use gloves properly. We're not trained to. We shouldn't. No. But gloves are not going to protect you. They're not going to protect you from really anything for the reasons you were talking about and more.
The surgeon doesn't go from one operating room with the same gloves to the next operating room, or from one patient to another patient with the same gloves. No. As soon as he's done with you, takes that thing off, disposes them, puts on a new pair of gloves.
In the exam room. Yep. Right.
And there's even a procedure to remove those gloves, because, it's very easy to infect your hands when by taking them off, by just removing them.
Exactly.
it's interesting. This is one of those things that I guess from a little bit of medical background that I have for what I did in college, and also, I have, immediate multiple family members in the medical industry, and so this is kind of the stuff that sometimes we'll talk about, whether it's masks or whether it's gloves,
Yeah.
and I think that in the end, keep it simple, stupid. The mask is to protect everybody else from you. The gloves are not going to be all that important, and wash your hands.
Yeah. And how many videos, these fail videos, have you seen lately on the internet of people putting, I saw one thing, a guy put a laundry basket over his head and he was in public and running to catch the bus. Granted, it was another country. Okay. I'll just, say that, but I mean, come on. And then one guy cut out like a 2-gallon jug of water and cut a hole in it so that it would fit over his head. So he had this big plastic thing with little breathing hole. I mean, come on, guys, that's
Wow.
just
Wow. Yeah.
So to do it right, Roger's absolutely right. The best way to think about the gloves, when you go to the food service place, right? Like they have a Chinese food and they have the steam, card out, and they put gloves on before they help you out, and they go, how can I, help you? And you order your food, and they're shoveling all the good Chinese food into their little neoprene or styrofoam or whatever it is, container. And then they close the container, they set it down, and before they touch the register or take your money, they take this glove, they remove the glove, one inside the other, toss it, and now they're handling the money and that side of it and putting the food in the bag and tying it, and you're off. Can you imagine if they didn't take their gloves off and now they're handling your money and touching the register and your credit card and the bag and the outside of the container, and then they go right back to help the next customer with the same gloves on? I mean, it would be disgusting. You would notice that, and you would absolutely never go back there again. Well, we have to
I
follow
all of a
these same
sudden
things.
just started to hate money now. I gotta touch money.
I think the coronavirus might be the last of your worries when it comes to touching your money.
It just depends if they're ones or not, right? Reminds me of a story. Just a really quick side note, and because you guys are awesome, you're hearing this out. We were driving down the street years ago, and there's a little guy pushing this ice cream cart, the little push cart. And my wife says, pull over. Let's get 3 ice creams for everybody. I'm like, all right, cool, man. Let's get some frescas, some good Mexican ice cream. Sure. So I just gave her my wallet and I said, yeah, go get whatever for us and jump back in the car and we'll go. Cause I had pulled over on the side of the road. And she gets back in the car. She hands us all our popsicles and she hands me back my wallet with this kind of look on her face. And she goes, you have a lot of ones in your wallet. Are you going to the strip club on your overnights? And I said, no, sweetheart, those are van driver tip ones. I always like to have a lot of ones so that I can tip the van driver, because it's going to and coming from the airport. You want to give them a tip because they work hard and they get you there safely and on time, And she goes, oh, I thought you were going to the strip club. I said, sweetheart, if I'm going to a strip club where I'm handing out ones, it's not a very good strip club.
So I have on another side note, another interesting story on that exact subject. And it's kind of an aviation related story because this was from at a previous outfit that I worked with, and we went on a trip and we went to, it was like a coin store or something. We made a specific dedicated trip to go there. And he goes in, and I think it was $200 worth. It was at least a couple $100 worth of $2 bills.
Okay.
We make a specific trip to go, and he gets a stack of $200 bills, or excuse me, of $2 bills.
Uh-huh.
You know why he did that?
No.
His theory was just like what you were just talking about, was that when you go to a strip club, then these dancers won't notice that it's not a 20.
Oh.
Because the $2 bill is not a widely circulated bill. And yet, if you give them the $2
a little extra
bill,
dance.
the tripper is going to think that you're giving them a 20, and so you're going to get a little bit of extra.